So, welcome back to our second video here in the series for sculpting in Mudbox 2015. So, as we left off, we looked at a lot of the interface and most of the controls here inside of Mudbox. Mudbox is a very easy program to get into. It does not have a really huge steep learning curve. What does have the curve to it, no pun intended, is the fact that you have to learn the technique of how to model inside of this program. So part of that is being able to have a reference image in here so that we can have something to sculpt off of. Now, that's not necessary. You could come in here and you could just freeform sculpt and just have whatever you choose, and that be the thing, or you can bring in a reference image. So I'm going to show you how to quickly bring in a reference image. I'm going to come to my right hand panel and I'm going to go to object list. In my object list, I see I have all of my cameras. So this is kind of like my outliner would be inside of Maya. So I can look, I have my perspective, I have my top, my side, my front. If I look at my front, I'm going to go to my front camera, right click on it, and I'm going to say look through. I'm right now looking through my front camera. So that means I cannot orbit my camera around. I can only pan it, and I can only dolly the camera in and out. That's all I can do to the camera at this point, because I am on a orthographic viewport looking at my model. So right here you'll see there is a entry for image plane. And currently my image plane is not on. I'm going to click it on, and you'll see when I click on my image plane, this white box shows up over my model. I'm going to import an image. So let's import an image. And let's go in here and let's go to my desktop. I've got an image sitting right there. So I've got this image of this young lady, and now it's on that plane. I can then use my transform nodes down here, and I can change the scale. So I'm going to say 0.5 and like 0.5. Actually, this should be like 1.5 or it's like 1. It's a little bit different. It's not 5 and 5. Oh God, no. So let's say 0.8. That's kooky. There we go. It looks like it's a little bit better in proportion. I'm not 100% happy with it, but there we go. So 6 and 8. So it's a ratio of 2. They're kind of off, like 0.2. So I've got this image in there now. I can change the visibility of my image, and I can change the depth of my image. I can pull my image behind my model, or pull my model, or pull it in front of my model. So I can change its depth. Now, when I'm looking at my scale, I can scale it on X and Y, but there's no point in scaling it on Z because it's just a plane. Now, I can come in here and move the translation of this. I can move it and translate it around. But what I will tell you I find easier to do is just being able to take your model and just move your model and line your model up. Like this, to me, honestly, this makes a lot more sense than trying to move the image to get it exactly where I need it to be. It just never really works out, honestly. So, got that there. And I want to do the same thing for my side view. So I'm going to come here and right click and say look through side. Click the side. Click on the image plane. Turn it on. I'm going to import my image. And there's my image right there. And let's try the same thing. We're going to say 0.5 and 0.8, which is what we used for the other one. Let's turn down the visibility of this. And then you see we can zoom this in. And I can get this relatively lined up to where this kind of matches rather. So that's it. That's how you can bring your images in here into Mudbox. It's a pretty simple process, nothing too elaborate. Just being able to bring your images in here, and that's really it. It's pretty simple. I like being able to have my images in here and see those. Now when I go in here and go to perspective, what's really nice is it doesn't show up in perspective, and I can have things kind of broken away from each other and not have to worry about where my displays and everything else are at. So one of the other things right now, you'll see that my wireframe is currently on. If you want to turn your if you want to toggle wireframe off and on, just hit the W key on your keyboard, and you'll see that toggle off and on. Now, in the next video, we'll start talking about the tools inside of Mudbox and how to be able to get to those tools, manipulate those tools, what tools are best used for what, and start sculpting out, or at least blocking in, the face. And we'll also talk about the theory behind how you need to think about sculpting your digital model and getting it to the appropriate level to get the detail and the stuff that you're trying to get with it. And we'll do that in our next video.